former U.S. Attorney Kendall Cofffi, joining us tonight from Miami. You've been following this with us from the beginning. All right, Kendall, what happens now? When can Larri Birkhead officially take custody of Danny Lynn?
Well, I think that's going to happen pretty quickly, maybe in a matter of days, now that Larri Birkhead and Danny Lynn have tested positive for father and daughter. As you could see, some jubilation in the Bahamas. And maybe there's at least one emotional judge in South Florida right now, Erica, that's got tears in his eyes.
Gee, I wonder who that could be, Kendall.
Exactly.
There's still a hearing in the Bahamas on Friday. So what's going to happen at that hearing?
I think it's pretty much a done deal. I mean, Stern himself has said he doesn't see any issue other than sole custody for Larri Birkhead. A grandmother like Virgie Arthur, who has had no contact with a 6-month-old granddaughter, she's not going to trump a father's rights. So I think the baby and the real dad are now together, and they've got plenty of challenges, but at least they're together and can make a fresh start.
I want to go back to the grandmother for a second. You just brought up Virgie Arthur. As we just heard her say, coming out today after the results were released, she said, "I just want to be the grandmother." That's kind of a change in tune from her. Is that because you think the DNA results were conclusive that is in fact Birkhead?
I think that's right. I think as long as things were up in the air, there was some uncertainty. Remember, there were a lot of wannabe dads for a while. She was the one person who clearly had natural rights and natural connection to Danny Lynn. But all that smoke has been cleared away now. We have a father, and his rights are going to trump the rights of a grandmother, especially here, where, as we mentioned, the grandmother has had no contact whatsoever with Danny Lynn. So I think the grandmother is going to work out some opportunity, some access, but it's very clear that Larri Birkhead is going to be the guardian, is going to have the legal rights and control for the well-being of his daughter.
So then you're saying you're pretty firmly convinced that he will end up with sole custody, which, as we just have heard Howard Stern say, he would do whatever he could to ensure that happened. I mean, what can he really do?
Well, I think simply because he has had experience with a child, has been up to now the guardian of the parent, the judge will certainly want to listen to him. But you're right, Howard K. Stern legally has absolutely no legal connection to this child, and that's why he's only going to be a voice, in effect, a witness, rather than an important player at this point.
There was always a lot of questions surrounding the birth certificate. We know Howard K. Stern's name is on the birth certificate as the father, but there were a lot of questions when this paternity battle initially came up after Anna Nicole's death about whether or not that birth certificate was legal. What happens now with that? Is that just a moot point, or could charges be filed there?
Well, I think it all depends who completed the birth certificate. But if, for example, Howard K. Stern was involved and the late Anne Nicole Smith were involved, and if they sincerely believed that Howard K. Stern was the father, Howard K. Stern wouldn't have any liability whatsoever. The Bahamas, just like other places, are only going to penalize somebody if it's an actual intentional fraud. And there's no evidence that that appears to be the case here.